All right, hour 2, Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line of the final score. There he is, Luke Willson around the table, joining us here to kick off Week 3 Jets-Pats tonight. What a game we have tonight. And what a triumphant return by Al's brother. I don't know if he's around there. I'm hoping that you greeted him with salutations.
Partsy, you're a man of integrity, and I love being your Partsy.
Hey, I appreciate that, Partsy. The feeling's mutual.
Well,
I mean,
Doogie, on the other hand,
Kirk
Doogie, God knows what he's up to back there.
Commissioner Doogie, yeah, you guys are constantly complaining about the games that Doogie's offering up, and we'll get to those tomorrow, right? We don't have to worry about the games on Sunday today. It's more about the game tonight, and Hayes and Bro are on the clock, and Al's brother will join us here momentarily. But this is a weird one because they're both 1-1, right, Luke? Yet coming into the season, it was understood the Jets were legit. They were going to finally get it figured out here and be a playoff team, and the Patriots were going to be a disaster. And through 2 weeks, the Pats have been the better team. They've looked better. They've looked more consistent. Their defense has been good. They almost had your Seahawks last week, let a game get away from them. What do you make of this matchup tonight?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. Again, I know Al's brother will probably be the wrong way on this, but I look at Gerard Mayo, and I see a lot of Bill Belichick. Obviously, it's no surprise, not groundbreaking information there. But what have they done really well? They've stopped the run. And in this league, when you don't have a run game, you can make teams one-dimensional. It's hard to consistently move the football. I don't think they've given up a 50 yards to any back yet. Again, it's only been 2 weeks, but they're 1-1. I thought that they, probably should have beaten my Seahawks last week. And I think that Jacoby Brissett, they need to kind of let him loose a bit. I'm not saying this guy's an all-pro, but it's like you look at what they've got him doing right now, and I believe, Coach Mayo there said this after last game, like they need to push the ball down the field. In the last couple of years, for whatever reason, after Tom left, the Patriots have been like gong show. It's just been like, hey, we're going to run the football, stop the run, play great defense, and win, 13-9. And it's like, hey, Jacoby Brissett has played in this league. He can be a very capable quarterback. They don't have all-pro weapons, but they do have guys that can make plays. You saw Henry last week, had a great day, and he was like a great pass-catching tight end. I know he's had some injury stuff, but it's like right now it seems like every offensive player that goes to New England goes there to die. And hopefully they can, revamp some of these guys. And, I think the Patriots are a legit team. Do I think that they're a Super Bowl contender? Absolutely not. But I think they're a good football team. On the other side, your guy Aaron is about to get hot. He's about to get hot and silence all the haters. That's all I'm going to say.
Really?
Well, he might have to, right? If they shut down Breece Hall in the run game, it might be on Aaron Rodgers to prove that tonight.
He's eating up, Hayes. You saw him at the end of last game.
He looked good.
Yeah, he's got
parts. We need some quality quarterbacking. Like we talked about it after week 1, quarterbacking not so good. It's not like there's been a massive bounce back at that position. What is there, 5 QBs playing well right now? The league, it looks watered down. It's kind of trashy, to be honest with you.
I couldn't agree more. And where my head goes with this, and as much as guys like to hate on this person, let's talk about Kirk Cousins for a sec. Okay, our guy.
Yeah. Primetime Kirk.
My guy.
Week one, Vic Fangio was our guy. Week 2, it was Kirk.
Vic Fangio. I love Vic Fangio.
So, I sit here and I look at Kirk Cousins, and I do not think he played overly well last Monday night. And afterwards, he was the first guy to say it. He was like, hey, in the interview, crazy situation going on, obviously a big win. This guy's cool, calm, collected. You can call him boring, call him a robot, call him whatever. And he's like, hey, I missed some throws. I got to get more comfortable. That'll come, et cetera, et cetera. But what Kirk Cousins was doing was processing the game of football. And then all of a sudden, the 2-minute drive came. And, that was, we can talk about that. That was unbelievable, I think, on both sides of the ball. Terrible job by Philadelphia. But it's like, why can't more quarterbacks do that? And I look at the other side of the football. Let's go to Jalen. Jalen is not going through progressions like Kirk Cousins is. Kurt had numerous plays earlier in the game where he's looking left and he goes 1 to 2. Okay, not there. I know I've got a in route coming or whatever basic route dig, whatever offense you're in, whatever lingo. I'm going to flip my hips and fire a heater because this should be wide open. And you can anticipate that. And like, O-Dog, you talk about quarterback play. I mean, it's been very subpar. And I wonder if it starts in college. You know, if in college we're just getting too many, like, hey, let's get better Johnnies and Joes, and let's not care about the X's and O's.
But Partsy, imagine hitching your wagon to Bryce Young, and it looks like I don't know what he looks like right now. I know it's premature and it's early, and he could come back and be an unbelievable athlete and quarterback for that organization. Do I think that's likely? No, because we've seen in the past couple of years, sometimes that start kind of has a reflection of what you're kind of going to be. It's like Peyton Manning was the one guy who was garbage in year one and then totally flipped the switch and turned into a megastar.
Yes.
Other than that, it generally doesn't happen a whole bunch.
Now, O-Dog, what I would say about Peyton is, for whatever reasons, whoever coached him was himself. I don't know. I don't know Peyton Manning. But it's when we played against him, obviously he was way later in his career. But this guy in his offense, he's out there, and he's like, I can't explain to you just the cerebral awareness that he has. And even if you watch him on the Manning cast right now or any of the highlights online, you see him talk like, hey, we got to, shift the protection here. We've got to, give a hot route over here. We're hot if this guy comes. Being a quarterback in this league, you have to be able to not just throw the football, not just extend plays if that's what you're looking for. You have to pre-snap, be able to identify, delegate, ID. There's a whole science to playing that position, and somehow we've lost it all. There's very few guys that can do that, and why I think Aaron's about to get hot is he is one of the few that can do it. Yeah. You look at last week when he threw the touchdown to Breece Hall, he's calling that on the field. He's on the field. They break out. You got a linebacker over there. It was funny. I was listening to his old teammate. Sounds like he brought the same signs over from Green Bay, but he's plucks a fly off his shirt, and all the signs are like this. So that's signaling a fly route. Okay, I remember for us, you guys will laugh, but ours was brushing, like, oh, I'm so fly back in the day.
Yes, love it.
That was our fly route. Hey, and obviously you don't do it like, hey, because people are going to know what's going on. But it's all things like that. Hey, and then he goes, same thing. This is just one play for Aaron Rodgers last week. I got to make sure everybody gets out of the way over here, so I'm going to have 2 outs. A mandatory outside release. He gives that signal, and we're off playing. He throws a great ball. Breece Hall makes a great catch. I go back again to the free play, week 1. These are things that, like, not everybody watching football understands how important the quarterback is. The touchdown he threw to Allen Lazard was on a free play. And everyone's like, oh, free play, Allen Lazard's wide open. 99 times out of 100 on a free play, a new quarterback will sit there and he will look outside because automatically when we have free plays, they jumped offside. And they'll throw the goal ball outside. Aaron knew exactly where he was going to throw that ball beforehand. But if you look at him, if you can run that back, okay, this is, again, week 1's touch on Lazard. He looks left just to drag the safety over there like, oh, free play. He's going to bomb it to the left like most people do. And then Aaron flips his hips and delivers an absolute dart. And you're like, oh, even with a free play, how is Allen Lazard this open? Where it's like, to me, that's playing quarterback. It's a simple version, again, to talk about. But things can get so complex at that position, Partsy, and now you're looking here, and guys can't do those things, and now you're going to ask him to sit there and go, okay, I'm facing a very blitz-heavy defense. I've got to now change my protection or have a running back, a tight end, or receiver run a hot route where there's 6 seconds on the play clock, and you got to get it all done, and if one guy's on the wrong page, the play's busted. But somehow, we don't coach those things anymore. And that's the end of my rant. That's the end of my quarterback.
I like
rant.
it. I like it. That was a Wilson cast, man. That was outstanding. Luke Willson with us. Now, let me ask you a question that I think a lot of the general public are wondering, right? Fans, like that's a really an inside football analysis that you just supplied us. But I think everyone understands exactly what you're saying. I think a lot of fans are wondering tonight, and you tell me if you ever come off an injury, as a pro player, whatever. Rodgers is back on the field where it happened. He's going back to the scene of the crime tonight. They started the first 2 games on the road this season. He's back in New York, taking a snap on the field where he blew his Achilles out. Do you think that is a factor in the game tonight for him? Does that apply to his psychology at all?
Not one bit. 0%. Negative amount, Hayes. I mean,
really?
Okay, if it's a rookie guy who's played 5 games in this league, like maybe. But the idea that Aaron Rodgers, who's done everything that he's done in this league and has the ability, is going to be like, man, I'm really worried about this turf tonight. It's absurd. In the next thing I would say is that there's something I've learned very early in my football career. You cannot play this game worried about being hurt. The moment you're like, man, I got to go out here and protect myself, you're getting hurt or you're playing like absolute dog, So he's going to be out here completely fine. And I think he's going to enjoy this game because he seems to like the chess match, and he's going to get one tonight. So I got a feeling I know exactly how the Patriots are probably going to double Garrett Wilson to try and stop the run and be like, hey, beat us with Mike Williams, beat us with Allen Lazard. And he's going to have to figure it out.
Well, you be careful, guys. You're on the clock there, and this guy is moving and shaking. That's the thing. Like,
Hayes is taking in all the information right now.
Taking it all in, but listen, Luke, you're a cagey guy. I feel like you're swaying, maybe some thought process, and at the end,
game.
I am.
It is a chess game. You play chess.
Leading the witness.
For sure. Noodles,
Leading
I'll
the
be
witness.
honest, this is a very hard game for me. If we were on the clock,
Incredibly difficult.
I think the line is very appropriately placed, and there's so many questions. Do I think this is going to be the game of the year? No. But from a football nerd standpoint, I do. I'm very excited about this game because I think it's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the fact that it's a divisional game, Doogie had his stats earlier today that are very applicable, that the Patriots have owned the Jets for a long, long time. Now, that was the Belichick Pats, the Brady Pats, and those two are no longer a part of this program. And Aaron Rodgers is now here for the New York Jets. But historically, at least in recent history, New England has kind of owned this. There was an interesting story I read this morning. Here's, I guess, a chance to kind of take a shot at Detroit and bring them back to reality here. That Dan Campbell had to put his house up for sale. Did you read this?
No.
Yeah, so I guess someone leaked his address online or something, like doxing his house. And after the loss to Tampa, people have been showing up at his house. And he's like, I got to get out of here. People know where I live. And these lunatic Lion fans are showing up and bothering him and his family or whatever. And I just, you'd think it would be the opposite with a guy like Dan Campbell, because by all accounts, and understandably so, people in Detroit love this guy.
Yeah.
He's like a fan's coach.
He's a fan's coach. They won multiple playoff games for the first time in over 30 years last year.
Yes.
They're favored to win the division, maybe the conference, maybe the Super Bowl. Sure, you lose to Tampa. Tampa's a decent team. You're still 1-1, and people are showing up at this guy's house?
Hey,
it's lunacy.
It's lunacy, and now you're sitting there and, first off, talked about Dan Campbell. I would argue he's the greatest coach in Lions history. Seriously.
Yeah, could be.
I grew up a Lions fan. You guys know that. There's certainly not anyone in my lifetime you're going to put in front of him. We couldn't win a playoff game to save our life. We had Barry Sanders, and we squandered that away. We had Calvin Johnson. We squandered him away.
Right.
Dan Campbell's came in here, inherited an awful slew of drafts by Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia, and still turned it around relatively quickly. And it's like
Matt Patricia, I had to sneak that one.
I had to. What, Hayes, as soon as I saw that guy, side note, at the Eagles game on Monday night, I knew we were going to cover that spread.
Yes,
I'm like,
you're right.
wherever this guy goes, a loss is coming.
That's valid. Atlanta was a lock. You're right.
What
Patricia
were they doing
around?
letting this guy in the building?
I don't know, man. That's a part of the program. The guy outside of the Belichick years, when he's with Belichick, if he's not around Belichick, the guy's a completely lost cause.
It's ridiculous. But back to Dan.
Is.
It's like, why would you want your head coach is now in the middle of a season, and what's shaping up to be a tough division? Jordan Love was at practice today.
Are you surprised that Love might play this week quickly?
Yeah, I am
looks
surprised.
like he could end up playing in Tennessee.
Correct. I'm very surprised, and they got to win without him. Okay, and now all of a sudden it's like the Vikings are good. They kind of came out of nowhere, but the Vikings are a good football team. Mm-hmm. You're 1-1 in a tough division, and your head coach has to put his house up for sale because lunatic fans are bothering him.
The only positive part
Not good.
is, though, you know better than anybody, the head coach is never at home. So
Yeah.
Well, exactly. But his wife is, and I think
I know
his
it's a
kids-
pain in the ass for whoever has to deal with it, but it ain't him because he's never at home.
That's
Coaches
very
live in
true.
that building.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get him in there. Get him in there. Look at how fresh this guy looks. The ayahuasca retreat, it was a resounding success. People have been buzzing about it. People have been stopping Al's brother on the street saying, man, you look like you've turned a page. You look like a new man. You look like you're prepared to pick winners. There he is in the bottom left. Look, you look like $1 million, Al's brother.
I feel like it. I feel like $1 million. Thank you so much for sending me. Clear in the head. I feel so good about this week's slate. I feel amazing right now.
it's insane, dog.
As you
It
should.
You're
is
0 for the year. You personally are 0 for the year.
Yep.
You haven't said one football thing correctly this season. So good luck to you.
That was the old me. The new
That's
me,
right.
a little
Oh,
more
I
gut
love it.
instinct involved. I think that going forward, you talk about the pendulum swinging, Hazy B, it swung the other way. I'm
really
ready to
Okay,
rock.
you know what? Let's just get right to it. Your thoughts tonight. Hayes, tee him up for his thoughts.
All
on the
right,
game.
all right.
Oh,
So
you
on
guys on the same
FanDuel,
page?
yeah, well, we're absolutely on the
Yes.
same page. You could throw anything at us.
I'm
and
telling
it
you
wouldn't
right
make us
now,
flinch.
if you guys take the Jets, you're out of your mind. Go ahead.
All right,
see.
Jets are laying 6 at home. Their home opener tonight
6.5.
against the New England Patriots. Al's brother, 6. It's up to 6.5. It was 6 literally 5 seconds ago.
Is it 6 or 6.5?
What is the deal, Doogie?
Doogie, what do we got?
Did it change? Because
The
it was
Doogie
6.5.
jam job. It's
I'll
up
say
to
this.
6.5
It was 6.5 all
on
day,
FanDuel.
but it was trending towards 6. So I'm not sure if
Might
it's
be
gotten
7
there
if you
yet.
don't get the pick in.
That's ridiculous that this
No.
would move by a half point right when we get on. Doogie with the old email to FanDuel. Let's get the boys jammed up here. I love it. That's
Go
fine. It's
ahead.
us against the world, Al's brother. We're laying 6.5 for the Jets. That's the line tonight. You're
Wow.
back. You're better than ever. You're seeing the board very clearly. The ayahuasca was set. Let's see what you have for us. What do you like about tonight?
Well, let me tell you a couple of things that I've learned over the last couple of weeks watching football, okay? When it comes to the spread, and 6.5, that's an important number because this season, teams that are favored by 6 or more points are 0-8 against the spread. And you talked about the Jets. They haven't beat the Patriots in 3,199 days at MetLife Stadium. The Pats 18-2
My head's
over the
gonna
New
explode.
York Jets in the last 10 years. But my gut, fellas, tells me that's all coming to an end tonight, and the Jets are going to cover, they're going to win,
God,
and they're
he's
going to
saying
win
it
big,
again.
boys. We're on the
Doing
Jets.
it again. He's
I
doing it
love
again.
it, Al's brother. I love it. We're laying the points. We're on
no
the
way.
New York Jets.
There's
Aaron
no
Rodgers,
way.
confirm or deny, Aaron Rodgers reached out to you this week and said, I hope you enjoyed the retreat. Right,
Hey,
Al's brother? You two are kindred spirits, man. You guys see the world very
Yeah, but
similarly.
I don't know if it lined up this perfectly, but I'm telling you, when I was at that retreat, I was in the hole. I did see an AR-12 somewhere, written in the stone.
Yes.
I'm pretty
Yes.
sure I was in the exact same spot. And the fact that we were aligned, I felt his spirit inside that retreat.
Partsy.
It is
He's doing it
working out
again.
for us
I
tonight.
He's
love
doing
it.
it again here, this guy. I don't know.
Jets,
Honest,
Jets,
honest
Jets.
reaction, Partsy.
I have some questions.
Go ahead.
Partsy,
I got
honest
answers.
reaction to the selection.
No BS here. I have some questions.
I got answers for you, pal.
Let's look at the Jets. Okay. Do you think that their run defense against the Niners was good?
Against the 49ers? No, they struggled
It
against
was
the
terrible.
49ers.
It was terrible. What do the Patriots do? They literally ran over. Both teams ran. I don't even know the exact numbers, but absurd amounts of running.
It's look, that's what their bread and butter is. Have you seen the injury report right now on the New England Patriots?
The Jets have played. This will be their third game in
Hold
11
on.
days.
I understand that. I do understand that, which means they're moving and shaking. They're starting to get that chemistry going. But defensively, the issue that I have with that team, I'm looking at a left tackle that is not playing for the New England Patriots, a left guard that is out for the New England Patriots. Their center, David Andrews, is questionable going into tonight, and they got a rookie right guard, and they got a right tackle who's ranked 55th in run grade
From what?
when it comes
PFF?
from PFF.
PFF is the worst rating system of all time. It's
Regardless,
a joke.
whatever you want to say.
You can't use PFF.
That offensive line is terrible. They are giving up the second most pressures among all NFL offensive linemen.
It's not a
I'm
terrible
telling you,
offensive
the
line.
Jets-
They're going to run all over this team. I'm not
They're not
saying
putting
that
up
they're going to win.
points. The
They're not gonna
Pats
put up
aren't
any
putting up
points.
points
Are they
tonight.
stopping the Jets?
Yes.
Let's go back
I don't
to the
think they're
Jets.
going to stop the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers, like you said, he's going to run out with the American flag tonight and torch that team, putting up at least 24 points. I don't think the Pats are going to score more than 13 points tonight.
Partsy, do you feel like an architect or somebody with confusing, complex drawings with an English bulldog trying to explain? That's what that sounded like. Parts,
you guys are
English
gonna,
bulldog.
I
You're
agree.
trying
It's
to
a
explain
Thursday night.
complex.
You're going to give the Jets 6.5, whatever, the Pats.
6.5 points.
Yes.
I see this
Hayes,
being
That
20.
half point
Stop
didn't,
this
didn't
nonsense.
change anything.
It
Did
didn't.
Else,
It's an
brother?
unsound pick. Even if it happens, it is a poor football pick, and this is why you guys are jammed. This is why you guys are 1-4.
No.
You've got to take the trends, throw them in the trash, and make football picks.
I did.
We
Teams
did.
that are favored by 6 or more are 0-8. I think it's going to be 1-8 after tonight. I really believe the Jets. Here's the thing. I think that
Do you
the
think
Patriots.
Aaron's coming in? He's just gonna throw everywhere.
Absolutely.
Kiss of death. He
Geno
just said,
Smith.
He
Here's the
hasn't thrown
thing.
over 200 yards this year
Geno
yet.
Smith threw for
Geno Smith
337
is,
yards last week.
First and foremost, Geno Smith is
I know
cooking
that's your
right
guy.
now.
That's
He's
your
Yeah,
guy.
but
cooking.
he's not as good as
Secondly,
Aaron Rodgers
it's
is,
Aaron
especially
Rodgers.
at
Okay,
home.
I would say Geno's a very, very great quarterback right now.
So's Aaron
also,
Rodgers.
who's got more weapons? Who's got more weapons?
Seattle
Geno.
probably does
Geno's
by a
on the
lot.
outside.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
a lot.
They don't have a better running back than Brees Hall, though.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Brees Hall's going to run for 35 yards tonight.
No, that's not true, man. Aaron Rodgers, you just broke it down 10 minutes ago
He's
as to
due.
the way this guy reads defenses, the way this
Agreed.
guy
But
he is
here's-
going to put Gerard Mayo and anyone else on the Pat side of things in a blender tonight. And you haven't referenced the number one reason why the Jets win and cover tonight, Ellis brother.
This was the tipping point. The King Daddy Topper. It's Fireman Ed's birthday today at the home
Exactly.
opener at Jet Life Stadium. He's going to have that building rocking, and they're going to go out there and put up a boatload of points. I really think that we're going to see probably 24-10 win. That's my score prediction, 24-10.
I'm with you.
I like
I love it. Fireman
Last
Ed.
time you went down this road, it didn't go well for you and the Jets.
Hey, it didn't go well, but last time we went down the road, they were taking on the San Francisco
Niners.
49ers,
Yeah.
okay? Not the New England Patriots, who FanDuel had them as the worst team going into. I think that
Oh,
we're
yeah,
looking at
FanDuel
the
had him. They
group.
should be 2-0.
Yeah, that's true, but I think a rude awakening is
What do you mean,
coming
come
here.
on? You think they should? They won the first game of the year, and they should have absolutely beaten Seattle last
I think
week.
the Bengals lost the first game of the year, but I think this is a letdown game. I think that people are looking at the Patriots and like, okay, they played pretty well so far. I think this is where things come back down to earth. The look-ahead line was like 7.5 going into the week, and I think it's been adjusted based on how the Patriots have played. They've been better than I expected, absolutely, but I think this is the week that the NFL stops getting weird. It was a strange week, too. We had like 8 outright upsets by underdogs last week. I think we see things get back to normal in week 3. There's been a lot of sloppiness to the NFL. Week 3, we could start to see things get back on track where it was supposed to be. So I think the Jets, going into the year, they're the far better football team. I think they are the far better football team, and they'll show it tonight.
There you go.
I like this one to be about 21-10, and Brissett gets the ball with about 1:43 left. Little greasy backdoor cover. Group chat blows up,
That
and I'll
wouldn't
be
be
on Jay Onright
surprising.
show with a smile from ear to ear.
But
Yeah.
see, that's. I'm glad you brought that up because you just said like New England should be. We should be probably up +3, +4.
The greasy.
You guys have covered
What?
so many
Oh.
games by a half point on greasy, gutless backdoor covers.
Like what?
Isaiah
Dude, a win is
Likely,
a win
half
is
a
a win,
Geppetto.
man.
Listen,
Yes.
you can't challenge wins. Though.
Exactly.
That's our
Okay,
mantra
that's
on
fine. Then
this
we
show.
won't.
Nope.
Then don't apply wins that didn't exist for New England as to why they're going to win and cover
Fair,
tonight.
that's fair, but
I don't
mean,
think they're
that's
going to
not
win
the way it
tonight.
works.
No. I think they're going to cover. I'm not saying they're going to win.
I would like to address just one quick thing you were talking about earlier, how Gerard Mayo explained that he wants to push the ball. I saw that comment that he made. They want to push the rock down the field. How do you expect for them to be able to do that tonight against a Jets pass rush, which is second in the league when it comes to generating pressures, against a team that is dead last in the NFL with their pass blocking win rates, allowing pressure on, I think it was a number, like they've only won 38% of their pass rushing reps.
Wow.
It's going to be absurd tonight the
Wow.
way they're going to get to the
Wow.
quarterback.
I love
you're
that information.
You're missing some football IQ here, okay? Because
Wow.
on the other side of things, when you're
Yeah.
like, hey, we have a pass rush or pass protection issue, what do you not have an issue with, which will slow down the pass rush? Your run game all week, which is a short week. What do you think that defense is saying? Hey, they're not going to be able to pass on us. we need to stop the run. No one's done it yet. The Seahawks didn't do it. The Bengals didn't do it. Stop the run, stop the run, stop the run. And now all of a sudden it's going to be, hey, play actions, play actions. We're not going to sit back here like we're 5-step, 7-step dropping and sit in the pocket. They can't do that. But what they can do is run the football, use play action, move the pocket. Brissett's mobile enough to move the pocket,
Luke,
get the ball out.
Last week you came on these airwaves and you talked about the Buffalo Bills and how successful they were. You said, I'm starting to believe that the offensive line is the most important position group in football.
For sure.
Look at the Patriots offensive line tonight. They've got nobody playing. How are they going to open up holes for Ramondre?
How do you know that the backups aren't good?
Because they're backups for
That's
a
not
reason.
true. That's not true.
If they were any good at camp, you don't think Jerome Mayo would have put them as the ones?
Their starters
Luke.
have been the best
punch.
run game team in the league.
Actually,
They've
what? How many
we've hit a
total
10
yards
count
does this
here,
team
Luke.
run for?
We've hit a 10 count. You just got knocked out by Al's brother.
One more stat, one more piece of tremendous information. They've
Okay.
put up some yardage, but when you look at their run blocking win rates, they're only winning
From
at
PFF.
No, it's
What?
ESPN.
From what?
ESPN.
Oh, and that's so much better.
Yes.
There's some
Red,
guy who's never played football at ESPN going, this guy didn't block it well,
Luke,
but we broke a 20-yarder.
Al's brother is
It's
analytically
ridiculous.
driven. He's analytically driven.
I'm telling you right now, this all sounds great. And what's going to happen is it's going to go south tonight. And it's just, we know how it's just going to shake out. And there's going to be
No,
all
it's not.
sound clips tomorrow.
No,
and
it's
there's
not.
people writing into Overdrive. It's official. I'm taking the Pats now. Like people going like,
Fade all you want. Fade all you want, man. But you're going to be out on the street soon because Al's brother is a new man, and he's seeing
You
things
and Al's
clearly.
brother will be looking in the cupboards like that picture I sent to the group chat. And that's exactly what you'll be doing.
I don't think so.
you can
He'll be
tweet out that
looking- yeah.
picture.
No,
you can
we're
tweet
not-
that
That's,
picture.
that one probably stays in the chat.
That stays
I
in the
think so.
group chat.
Yeah.
That one's
That's a
gotta
tough
be,
picture.
Yeah,
Just
that one's,
rooting through the cupboards.
listen, there's a lot of positive buzz about us right now, Al's brother. That's the truth. Hazen, bro, there's a lot of people that are starting to come around and realizing the way that we're operating here, and we're playing the long game, and now we have the information needed. We always said we need 2 weeks,
Yeah,
and week 3 starts tonight.
exactly. I'm ready.
Everyone knows
I
that.
can't
Rock.
wait to see this
Everyone.
game tonight. I can't wait.
I
to see
can't
it.
wait either. It's going to be a great game.
I will say one thing. Once again, Al's brother, you actually sounded like you knew what you were talking about, but it'll just blow up in your face and you'll sound like a dummy again. So
Hey,
congrats.
we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
we'll see, man. We'll
This is what-
see.
The tape and the information are telling me one thing. Sometimes
The
it
tape-
doesn't work out, but that's
The
what
tape's
it's saying.
not telling you anything. You're looking at stats that don't mean nothing.
No,
Where
the
do you
all
get
22,
stats
man.
from? Watching tape.
Yeah.
You think that a guy at ESPN knows what the play call is and says, "Oh, that was a good or poor job by this O-lineman"?
No,
They don't even know
so
what the call
there's
is.
context. There's context involved with all analytics. Let's be honest. There's definitely context. We were talking about pass rush win rates and run stopping win rates. You're looking at the tape. You're watching the one-on-one, and you're saying, okay, did he win that rep? Did he lose that rep? And it's going in a column.
Can I ask you this? How is it you said? What was the stat of their run offensive line?
Offensive line, their
Win rate?
Win rate along the offensive line is just at 70%, which ranks 23rd in the NFL.
How then have they rushed for so many
Ramondre
yards?
Stevenson has just been rocking. I'll give him
Ramondre
the love.
he runs through NFL defenders now.
Also, broken tackles. Go back and watch the game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Very sloppy. Very sloppy game by the Bengals.
Very sloppy.
Go back and watch that because Al's brother saw it, the all 22, when he was on
Jordan
the ayahuasca
Mason.
retreat.
Jordan Mason. How many broken tackles did Jordan Mason make when he hit the hole?
That's
So,
right.
The
Al's
Jets
brother.
were winning reps, but they weren't wrapping up. They weren't getting the tackle.
And
Okay.
that changes
Salah,
started tonight.
that'll
Talk
Cheers.
about context, broken tackles. So a lot of times when broken tackles are recorded,
Yep.
very rarely in this league is it, hey, I've got a guy, I've got a great angle on him, I missed this tackle. Does happen? Not often. A lot of times it's, hey, I got an O lineman that's jammed me up, I shed it, so I did win the rep, but now I'm on 1 foot and I've got a horse coming downhill and it's a broken tackle because I did everything I could.
I don't know what you guys want to finish this with, but I'm not in charge of anything creative for SportsCenter or anything, but I would pay money on Monday morning to have Hayes mediate Al's brother versus Luke on some NFL football talk. I'm telling you, I want to see that Monday morning with a coffee. Like
I gotta say, it felt I got a little Stephen A. Mad Dog on that one. I do gotta say, it felt a little Stephen A. Mad Dog.
I love it, Al's brother.
I think
My
Joe
apologies.
from the bridge with the cherry on top in the group chat. Hayes, your wife is going to be like, you picked the Jets.
I know it's happening again tonight. You're
But
right.
it's the
gonna say that.
Patriots
You're right.
against the Patriots,
You're
not the
absolutely right.
Niners.
That's very valid. I will tell her right before kickoff. She'll ask,
Yeah.
who did you guys take? I'll say the Jets. And she'll be like, you're such an idiot. And she'll leave the room. All right, Al's brother, I need you to save me tonight. Save the marriage, but I like it. We're both on it. People are buzzing. Al's brother's back. Hayes and Bro are intact. We're seeing the board. The vision is clear. We love it. We're on the Jets tonight. Al's brother, Luke Willson. We'll chat later in the week.
Parts, we have our integrity.
We have our integrity.
And we're going to have victory. Right, Al's brother?
Absolutely. Can't
All right.
wait for Jets. Jets.
Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, the pick is in. Hayes and Bro and the Jets tonight. Lots of support online. A lot of people believing in Hayes and Bro and the connection that Al's brother and I have moving forward here. Week 3 starting in the NFL. So we're looking forward to that on TSN tonight. And we've been doing this the last couple of weeks. I've been putting together a list, variety of topics, variety of angles, sometimes positive, sometimes negative, a lot of different things we can look at.
Yeah.
And I break down the list, and you guys basically come at me and pick it apart. Generally speaking, you pick it apart. I wasn't sure what I was going to do this week, and then a couple of days ago we stumbled across Leafs opening of camp. Everyone's in a good mood.
Yeah.
Let's try something optimistic here. Right? Let's try to come up with a 5-pack on why things will be different this season for the Leafs, and different means playoff success and ultimately it being a positive season. All right? Cool with that? Everyone
Can't
all right
wait.
with that?
Like, I can't wait
Can't
to
wait.
hear this because, apparently some goons on Twitter, I don't know what the guy called us last night, Hayes, gaslighters. He said, you two are the biggest gaslighters ever. I
What?
don't even know what that means, but
Well, there's
I'm
a lot of
looking forward-
gaslighting in politics, so I guess we're gaslighting
That's
in the
what we're
sports
bringing
world.
to the table. I think, maybe that's the case. I'm not sure. Considering none
But
of
I'm
us know
looking
how to
forward
define
to the
it.
positivity.
Positive.
So let's have it.
Thursday. Okay, this is where we're at. And I had to put a lot of thinking into this. And before I get to the list, I was trying to put a spin on the division they play in. Like, is there something to, Florida's kind of fat and happy now because they got their cup. Boston's got the Swayman thing. Tampa's lost Stamkos. But I couldn't get there because I still think the division's so good. And I think
It
those
is
3
good.
teams are really good. I think Ottawa is going to be pretty good. Detroit should be pretty good. So I don't think it's about something external. So I got a 5-pack of reasons that are internal improvement, so to speak, as we move into the top 5. All right, at number 5, the Riley-Tanev pairing. Okay, I think this is really significant for this team. I think Morgan Riley's clearly their number 1 defenseman. Now, he's not the best defensive defenseman. He doesn't kill penalties, so he doesn't hold on to that label the way that a lot of other number 1 defensemen in the league do. But in the modern game where skating is important, offensive skill set is important, when Morgan Riley's at his best, it's when he's up in the play. When he's either augmenting the rush, sometimes leading the rush, and he's supplying a dynamic that makes it very difficult for the opponent to shut him down. It opens lanes for forwards, etc. And I think he needs the perfect partner to really expose that, to put Riley in a position where he can have his best season. And I think he's going to get that with Chris Tanev. I think Tanev's a perfect pair for him. Left shot, right shot. Tanev's going to do all the dirty work for him. Kind of like when Brody was here his first year. If that was left shot, left shot, this sets up way better. I think the Riley-Tanev pairing could make up for the fact that maybe they don't have a true number 1 defenseman, but they have a number 1 pairing, and I think that's going to go a long
pairing.
way for the Leafs.
I just like to interject quickly here before we move into the next phase of this exercise. The only thing about that is Tanev's no kid anymore, right? Like, to expect a guy to be in that spotlight position, how old is he, 34 years old?
35, yeah. He's 34,
35 years
yeah.
old with heavy
34.
miles on him is a big ask. So
He'll be 35 December 20th. So we're going to play as a 35-year-old this year.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's a lot depending on the way Craig Berube deploys them too. Like if if they play 20 minutes a night as opposed to 23 or 27, 27, like that's the biggest challenge too. Because Tanev does have mileage on him, but he's a hell of a player. And
Yeah.
I agree with you, Hayes. I think that's a very positive look because they
It
haven't
is.
had
Jake
a
Ottinger
clear.
said it last year, Jamie, where he said Chris Tanev, his defensive smarts, he's yet to seen it in the National Hockey League. He hasn't been around that long, but he said this guy's defensive awareness and his smarts and everything. But just the one thing is he's going to be 35 years old, so it's a big ask. It's a big ask. There's a lot of miles, so let's hope he can do it.
Okay. All right. I'll put
And
the,
I don't
I'll
mean
put the
to-
positivity on
I-
it. You put the negativity
I-
on it.
I do not
I
want
like-
to put negativity. I'm just trying to interject with some constructive thoughts here.
I think that's reasonable. Again,
It's
I'm
fair.
being
It's a fair
overly
assessment.
positive here. I'm going to say a few things here where you're probably going to easily push back, but I have the role of supplying a 5-pack of why it will be positive, why there's optimism, why it will change. These things basically have to break in order for all of this to come to fruition.
Yeah.
Number 4, here's another example because I already know what you're going to say, but a full season of Joseph Wall. All right? Now, that's on him to supply it. It's
Nichols,
on
I'll
him.
let you go after this one.
It's on him to actually stay in the crease. But what I have seen out of him through basically a year and a half is a guy that looks like he's capable of supplying big game goaltending. And that's what's more important, right? It's not what is the save percentage, what are the expected saves, about all that kind of stuff. Can you get into a moment and be healthy enough? And I know that that's where you're going to push back and it's reasonable. But can you do what you did in Game 4, in Game 5, in Game 6 against the Bruins? Last year when he went in against Florida and he was really, really good in Game 4 and Game 5. That is something that can really turn the tide, man. You get a goalie that can simply say, guys, I got it. Give me 1 or 2 tonight and we're going to win this hockey game. That's something I think you need to sink your teeth in if you're a Leaf fan, that Joseph Wall can supply that.
And I agree with you because I've been pushing that. I guess the only on the other side is the guy has 36 games of NHL experience. So there's a bunch of question marks. What if? This will be his first year as kind of the mantle, like, here it is. You can be the number one if you can go play 50-plus games. But I'm leaning exactly to where you are, Brian. It's just, for me, he's got to go out and do it. Because, we can have all the lip service, but he hasn't been super healthy at times, and especially at critical times. But he doesn't have that experience of being, okay, I'm starting 4 games in a week. Like, he hasn't been able to, do that consistently for a full season. So that's basically, the number one job is there for him. He's got to go and take it, earn it, and stay healthy enough to do that. But I'm more on the optimistic side instead of on the pessimistic side of that.
And the one King Daddy topper that would cause concern is just the way it went in Game 7, where that was just a weird vibe. Like, I don't even know if that was anyone's radar. Like, I think I was doing a Sports Center hit early, and Dregs was like, I don't think Joseph Wall's playing tonight. And I was like, excuse me? Like, it was bizarre.
It was
He
bizarre.
took morning skate.
Yeah,
he was
at
at
morning skate. He was on the bus. It was very bizarre. That can't ever happen again. Like, let's just call it what it is. You gotta find a way to. You're either injured and you're like, I can't even put skates on, or you got to find a way to play if you're the number one guy.
Yeah.
All right, number 3, I have Austin Matthews' legacy is why it will be different this year. What do I mean by that? Okay, now he's the captain.
Do tell.
Now he's the man. He wants to be the best player in Maple Leaf history. Now, he may be the most talented. He's definitely the greatest goal scorer. He's probably the greatest regular season player. But he needs playoff success, and he knows that. Now he's the man. The contract's kicking in, the captaincy. And there's another level to this. It's not only about the Maple Leafs. If you, I guess, bring it out, bring the scope out a little bit. We're talking about a guy who wants to be, and very well could be, the greatest American hockey player of all time. But in order for him to do that, he's got to pass Patrick Kane, Chris Chelios, Mike Modano, Brian Leetch, Brett Hull. All those guys won. Every single one of those guys I just announced has won a Stanley Cup. And the belief that when those lottery balls fell, that it was the kid was going to show up and he was going to be a Leaf for life, and he was going to be the one, the chosen one, effectively, that was going to get them to a Stanley Cup. This is more Fantasyland stuff as opposed to something like concrete and X's and O's and tangible stuff. But if you want some reason for optimism, it's that he's too good to not pop at some point in the playoffs. He's too good to not show up, change his game slightly, stay healthy, and drag his team somewhere. And this will be the year that he's going to do that. First
Okay,
year as
well,
the captain
I just
of the
want to
Maple
say
Leafs.
one thing objectively looking at that. Mitch Marner supporters would say he deserves the same benefit.
Yes, sure. Yeah, listen, they're both in the same boat. I'm not gonna dispute that Marner is such a good player. I don't think he's as good as Matthews, but I think he's in the conversation as one of the best players in the world, undoubtedly, and has been basically since he arrived. So, yes, if you're going to apply that kind of fairy tale story to Matthews, then maybe make it a two-pack and apply it to Marner as well.
No,
Well,
it's all of them.
I don't
Apply
think
it to
you
all
should.
of them.
I think you should stick with Matthews, and the reason being is because you said you added the C. Like
Yes.
that there's more pressure that comes with the C. This is a legacy moment. You're right, you can add Marner, you can add Nylander, you can add Riley, all of them to the mix. They're very good players and had great regular seasons. I like Matthews as a standalone here. This is because you mentioned the word legacy. This is now it probably has been his team. Now it is his team. Like, last year, a couple of years, it's always been his team, but it was John Tavares that came out after, a loss or after something. Every night, it's Austin Matthews' team. He's got the C on his
Skin
jersey.
in the game. You guys always use that term.
Exactly.
It's
Like
skin
he
in the
is
game.
the tip of the spear, the head of the snake, whatever you want to term it. Now it's no hiding it. That is his. So I like it as Matthews as a standalone. You can make the argument, like O said, for the other players, but this is Matthews, quote unquote legacy. So I'm fine with that.
Yep, I think he's on an island on this team in terms of what he can represent and what he can be in terms of Maple Leafs lore, in terms of American hockey lore. I mean, it's all there for him, but it's simply he's got to win. And if you're a believer that the all-time greats do that, it just some of them do it at a different pace, then this should be the year where you're looking at Austin Matthews. Number 2, on the reasons why it'll be different this season in Toronto, Craig Berube is at number 2, the arrival of a Stanley Cup winning head coach. And I understand Babcock was a Stanley Cup winner as well, but when he got here, they were terrible. They tanked his first year, and they were young, and there was a transition, and it was a mess, and it was sloppy, and he was what he was, and he was out. And Sheldon came in, and I thought Keefe did a really good job. But Berube represents something different. Berube actually has won a Stanley Cup. And that's, you look at some other players that they've brought in the past who were veterans, who were looking for that cup. They didn't have it. Berube's been through that dance. And I think Berube understands as a player and as a coach and as a guy who's been around the game for a long time, the what is mandatory in order to win in the playoffs. Like what he has seen it, he has lived it, he has done it, and I think he is going to apply that logic from day one. He is going to hammer it home. He's going to make it mandatory. He's going to change the feeling, the vibe, hopefully the style of play. I think he's going to even things out among his lines. I don't think he is showing up here either committed to anything in the past in terms of who you are, what your contract was, where you think you want to play or you should play, or who your lineups are. I think a lot of that's come to an end.
But it'll be fascinating to see the accountability factor, Brian, with Craig Berube, because in the past it was like Willie would have a couple turnovers and it would be like, sit your ass on the bench for a period, but only guy.
Right. The other guys would do the same thing, and they kept playing.
Time after time, and not even a word was spoken to those guys. So that'll be fascinating to see how that would. And I don't expect there to be multiple benchings or whatever, but sometimes it's like take a seat for a minute here if you have a stupid turnover that cost you a game or a period, whatever it is.
Well, if you know Craig Berube, he's just a no-nonsense guy. So I think the word is accountability. And if you believe, again, we're not privy to that information. If you believe that was a country club, it was in the dressing room, whether it was or not, I just don't see that happening with Craig Berube. I think there'll be some honesty. I think by the end, Sheldon Keefe, we talked about it last year, like he was guns blazing.
He had changed his tone last year, understanding he had to.
To hell with it. I'm gonna say what I think here instead of trying to shine it up. Craig Berube's not going to shine anything up. I think he's just a straight shooter. I do believe he's an X factor, and I do think that optimism. It's just a different look.
It has to, and he's won before, and it's the biggest change is the fact that he's here. All right, number one, okay, the number one reason for optimism that this will be a different season is I am a believer that it is cup or bust for this core. And they know it. And if they want to be a part of this program, it has to happen because there's new ownership. Keith Pelly's going to have a full year under his belt here. I think this applies to Shanahan. I think it applies to Marner and Tavares in particular because their contracts are up. There is so much at stake for this team. And the truth of the matter is, if it busts out, which it very well could, the odds are against them, right? There's 31 other teams chasing it. If it busts out, the reason for optimism, if you're a Leaf fan, is that I think you're finally going to see that change. I think you're finally going to see it, that if it doesn't work, you're going to actually have a different feel, and it will be the final ride. Get on your horse. It's the final ride for the core, four in particular, but the core, I think Shanahan, Riley, Matthews, Tavares, Nylander, Marner. Obviously, a bunch of these guys are going to stick around. Matthews and Nylander are a lock. Everything else, I think, is going to be on the table, all the way up to the top. Brendan Shanahan all the way down. And at a minimum, if it works, it's amazing. They wrote the story. They're motivated. They realize they need to actually do it. If it doesn't, the payoff will be, if you're a Leaf fan and you've been frustrated without the change, is that I think it's actually finally going to happen.
That was well said. I don't even
Well
think
said.
it's very much opinion. That's kind of a fact. Like, if it doesn't happen this year, like, it won't continue.
It can't. It
won't.
can't.
Yeah.
I was a bit surprised it continued this year, not completely. Next year, I don't buy it for a second. This is actually it. Your chips are in the center. Go find a way to win the hand. There it is. Hayesy B. Liston. Top 5 reasons for optimism. We'll come back. You guys can comment more on that. We'll comment on it into the final hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, Pierre LeBrun coming up in the next hour. Again, more on Thursday Night Football tonight. Jets, Pats, the Leafs back on the ice today. The Jays were playing this afternoon. Bo Bichette on the IL. He's done for the year. So more on that and our best bet still to come as well. It's going to be a good one. And we'll revisit the list. You know, listen, people are like, you got to tell me why it's going to be different. Do you know how hard it is to come up with 5 reasons why I know it's going to be different? How the hell do you know it's going to be different? I mean, you're trying here.
Hey, like you
right?
said, Hayesy, new season, training camp. We're just trying to be positive because everyone says we're so negative.
Exactly. Just a few positive guys on a Thursday afternoon.
That's it.
Overdrive continues.
Exactly.
TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.